When I was 6 years old, it was a week before Christmas, December 18th. And out of all things, our Advent wreath, someone forgot to blow out the candles and it caught on fire. And there was a live Christmas tree next to it, and then the Christmas tree caught on fire. So I barely made it out of the house, and my father was trying to save my sister Maria, who was 11 at the time. And unfortunately, she didn't make it out of the house. After that event, my whole family, I lost everything, right? Not just my sister, but toys, clothes, you name it, just gone. Everything I knew. But more than anything, my family was just not the same. I was really a prayerful little girl. You could see St. Mary's Catholic Church from my house. The priest always came over for dinner, and I would joke around and be like, Jesus is coming for dinner, and I just, I was very faithful. And I knew that the Bible said that God could raise the dead. And I just believed, with this childlike faith, that he is who he says he is. And, it was 3 months later after the fire. It was my 7th birthday. And I had nothing except people had donated dolls to me. And these were my prized possessions, And I did have one doll that was my sister's, that was from the fire. It had burn marks on it. It was kind of like a musty smell, but it was my treasure because it was hers. And so I decided that I was going to lay out all these dolls on my bed. I was 6, so I didn't realize, but at the time it was kind of like my altar of sacrifice. I made the shape and size of my sister Maria, and I was just kind of like, God, I'll give you everything that I have if you can just give me my sister back. And I prayed, and I said, Lord, please, bring her back. I probably said abracadabra or something, which actually is a word that has Hebrew roots, believe it or not. And, I was waiting for God to respond, and nothing happened. And so, but I still was hopeful. I really believed that and knew that God can raise the dead. And so I prayed again, and, I asked God to raise her. And the second time it didn't work. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give this one more shot, because I was a very persistent, prayerful little girl. And I prayed again and asked God to raise her. And when he didn't raise her the third time, it was just kind of like this doubt entered my heart. I thought, well, maybe God didn't love me. Maybe he wasn't who he said he was, because I knew he could raise the dead. And if he truly loved me and truly knew the pain that me and my entire family was experiencing, he would bring her back. So I think that's the moment when I decided to kind of cut my phone line to God off, which was prayer. My mother had a theater company. And so if I wanted to hang out with my mama, I had to be a part of that too. And just naturally, God has called me in that way. And I would find myself getting so involved in the characters and wanting to hide behind the mask, after a while, just completely forgetting who I am, but wanting to be someone else. And I loved to play the characters, the ingenues that were so sweet and kind. I love to hide behind the idea of a perfect life. And I think we do that so much in life. It's so much easier to just pretend like everything is okay all the time. I was a national model for Jergens, for Target. I had a billboard in Times Square. I did these independent films. I was on book covers. I hosted a TV show for Trend TV, which was on ABC5 in Asia, and so I did all these things. And then I had this cosmetic company for 7 years, and it was in all these magazines, and all the celebrities were wearing it. And so it looks like to the world that I had it all. And I remember just thinking to myself, oh, once I just do this next thing, once I just have this, once I have this additional house, I had 2 beach houses in Florida, a dream house in Austin. I had all these things, all this stuff. And I'm like, yes, this new home is going to satisfy, this new job is going to satisfy, this new photo shoot is going to satisfy, this new product, this is what I need. This is going to be happiness. This is going to bring joy, and with it came so much emptiness. And so it got to this point where I went out to Hollywood for this dream come true, trip. And I'm on the rooftop I'm on this rooftop in Hollywood with the Hollywood sign behind me, wearing this $4,000 dress. The sun's hitting me just right. And actually, I was on a ledge in the middle of the rooftop because that rooftop wasn't high enough. I needed to be higher, And I was suffering from vertigo, so I almost fell off the ledge a couple of times. But I wonder sometimes, was that dizziness that I felt the fact that I was caught up in a whirlwind of unmeaning? I had no idea who I was and why I was here. And there's a moment on the rooftop when I'm looking in this compact and I catch a glimpse of myself, and it looked glamorous. To the world, it looked like I had everything. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, who are you? Because I had no idea who I was. I was so busy trying to look perfect all the time, or what I thought other people wanted, that I completely lost my own identity. And I certainly was far from Christ. And that night I spent crying on the shower floor of this fancy hotel room in West Hollywood, just for the first time praying in 12 years. Like the first time that I just really, really poured my heart out and said, Lord, I need you. I don't have this anymore. That cry for help, that cry in my heart is what really began the door to grace, the door to open in my heart for grace to rush in. And so I had this experience where my whole life flashed before my eyes. Every sin I've ever committed, who followed me, who followed them, and it was excruciating to see, and my message is one of mercy. So I do want to add that now, but I want to tell you that where my soul was, where I was at that point, and I don't sugarcoat this to anyone because I think this is so important. It hurt. It hurt to see how I didn't love. It hurt to see how I didn't love Christ, But what I was shown was that the good column, the column to love, the column to be who I was created to be, to use the gifts and the graces and all the things that God gave me to actually build his kingdom, that column was nearly empty. And I saw that column weighed more. And, I've prayed about this a while, why did the good column weigh more than my worst sin? And, I didn't even know the scripture at the time. Love covers a multitude of sins. And I realized it's because if we're filling our good column, if we're being who God created us to be, if we are loving one another, then we're not sinning. See, God is simple, and and so he doesn't condemn us. He didn't show me this or show any of us our sin or give us light to condemn us. It's all an act of mercy. And, I like to say I'm a witness of mercy because I didn't deserve this grace. And some people will say, well, Joelle, you got this grace. I didn't get that. Why? And I'm like, trust me, don't wish for things, you don't know, because it comes with a responsibility. God gave this to me, I believe, because I was so far lost, not because I earned it, but because I had nowhere else to go but up, and that he wants me to bring this message and share it with others. There's nothing that we've done that can ever separate us from the love of Christ. There's nothing that is so bad that he can't take us back, and also the scary part of this is that if you had asked me the day before if I was going to heaven, I would have told you I had a straight ticket. I actually thought my soul was in good shape. I thought that, my prayers to God were powerful. Lord, I want this, I want that, give me this, give me that. Okay, see you later. Somehow I thought that merited heaven, and that's not the message, and I think we water down the truth. I think we live in a world that's lukewarm, that just says, okay, love God, be kind to people, and you're going straight to heaven. No, we're called to more. I was shown that we are called to fill the good column. We are called to love one another. We are called to use the gifts and graces to lead others to heaven. And that's where our joy is. And so if we're living in misery, if we, it's because we're not connected to God. We need that connection. We need to be vulnerable. We need to get on our knees, even if it's in a shower or by the side of our bed or wherever it is, and say, Lord, I need you. I don't have this. That's what humility is. I think we have a misunderstanding. We think humility is shaming ourselves and condemning ourselves, oh, I'm terrible, God would never use me. He chooses to use us. He could see what we can't see. He could see the plans that he has for us. And he's saying, you know what, I've got this. You are here for a purpose. And so not everyone's going to be the same thing, but not everyone has the same gift. But we are here for a reason, for a purpose, and most importantly, to love. And we need to be vulnerable to do that. We need to have a relationship with God to do that. And we need to know who we are and be walking in that authority. Because I didn't know that I was a child of God. I didn't know I was a daughter of a king. I didn't know that prayers do move mountains, right? If we just have that little mustard seed. I didn't even know how to get a mustard seed. And so I think the hope of the story is that if God can help me and save me, he can help and save any of us. It doesn't matter how lost we were, or how empty we felt, or how selfish we've been. But the love of Christ makes us Eucharistic. The love of Christ, when I return to the church, I return to the sacraments, I realized that Jesus became bread for us, right? He's the living bread that came down from heaven, but we are then called to feed others. We're called to become bread for others.